Why them, not me? Jimin's remarks trigger speculation of unfair treatment from Bang Si-hyuk. A simple statement from Jimin in his latest interview successfully shook the BTS fan community around the world. Not because of the information it conveys vividly, but because of the hidden meaning that feels obvious for those who are used to reading between the lines of unspoken words. During one of the quiet moments of the interview, Jimin was silent for quite a long time when he was asked about his solo tour, a long-awaited project. After a pause containing more than 1,000 words, he only said softly, "Sometimes I wonder, why can others but not me?" At first glance, this statement sounds like a personal reflection, but for many ARMY, the sentence was more than a momentary disappointment. It was like a scream of the heart that had been withheld for so long, wrapped in politeness and a professional smile. In recent weeks, rumors about the postponement of Jimin's solo tour have continued to strengthen. In fact, many call the entire preparation completed, from the concept, training, to the design of merchandise. However, the project seemed to evaporate just like that, without explanation, without direction. While his fellow bandmates raced ahead with big-budget solo projects and global tours, Jimin seemed to be stuck in silence. This difference in treatment provokes a sharp question. What is behind the scenes? He is usually very diplomatic, wrote one fan on social media. If he says something like that in public, it means that there are wounds that can no longer be hidden. Jimin's statement comes just days after HYB announced a series of major projects involving other BTS members, ranging from global brands to mini concerts. But there was no mention of Jimin's tour. The gap that occurred seemed unnatural, even painful to many fans who closely watched the internal dynamics of the agency. Ironically, insiders say that since March 2025, all Jimin's tour plans have been ready for launch. But for some reason, the last permission was not given. On the other hand, voices from behind the scenes mentioned that Jimin was considered too sensitive, too artistic, and too unpredictable. A judgment that feels more like an excuse than an actual reason. So now the sensitivity is a bottleneck? Wrote a fan in an angry tone. Isn't that precisely the thing that makes Set Me Free PT2 so shook our hearts? Isn't that what makes us love him? In the midst of a wave of speculation, another quote from Jimin went viral. When asked about the biggest lesson from 2025 so far, he said, "Sometimes waiting makes you realize who you really are." An answer that left interviewers speechless and fans brooding. In a short time, the phrase, "Why them, not me?" trending in over 30 countries. A simple sentence that breaks the limits of language, because behind it is a very human feeling, the desire to be treated fairly, not to be forgotten. The ARMY responded in various ways. Some wrote an open letter to HYB. Others created a digital campaign titled #LetJiminShine, demanding clarity about Jimin's solo activities and promotion equality. Others have created imaginary tour posters, dream tour playlists, and tribute videos that voice one thing: Jimin deserves a stage. During this time, Jimin is known as a figure who always gives. He gave himself completely, both in lyrics, choreography, and honest expression on stage. So when he finally says something that hints at disappointment, even if it's just one sentence, it feels like a crack in the illusion of perfection that has been maintained. This issue also brings back the old discussion about the alleged differences in priorities within the internal HYB. Some sources mention that the priority of solo projects is given based on the potential cooperation of a particular brand or market attractiveness. And in their judgment, emotional is not part of the strategy, but for the fans, that's exactly what makes Jimin special. Not just a golden voice or a beautiful gesture, but raw emotion and honesty that touches the soul. The fact that he can convey so much with just silence, or one short sentence, is testament to the depth of his soul as an artist. And here comes the question, does HYB see it the same way? Bang Si-hyuk, the central figure behind BTS's glory, once said that Jimin is the soul of BTS. He even wrote a song specifically as an apology for past creative conflicts. But if all that is true, why now seems there is an inexplicable distance? Is it a difference of vision? Is this just a business strategy? Or are there things that can't even be explained in words? In a recent Muse promotional video call, Jimin kept smiling. He thanked her warmly, not showing the slightest hint that his heart was wrestling. But there was one moment when a fan asked, "If now you could go anywhere, where would you like to go?" Jimin was silent for a moment before answering slowly, "To the stage. A place where I can see you all." The sentence was like a soft slap. It hurts to be sincere. Heartbreaking to be honest. To this day, HYBE has not given any official clarification. No statement. No explanation. There is not even a vague promise of a possible future. And that's where the wound feels deeper. Because if a company that claims to be focused on artists and fans cannot afford to be transparent, especially with artists as sensitive and talented as Jimin, what do all those slogans and commitments mean? Jimin is not just a singer. It's a story. It's a taste. He is someone who creates safe spaces for millions of people through music and expression. And such a space should not be marginalized just because it does not match market expectations. In an era where algorithms speak louder than feelings, his muse proves that inner voice can still beat numbers. The sales figures, streaming, and fan enthusiasm show clearly. The world is looking forward to Jimin. The stage had been waiting for him for a long time. It only takes one more thing. The light is turned on, and perhaps, in the end, the question, "Why them, not me?" It's not just a question from Jimin to the world, but of the millions of fans who asked one person, Si-hyuk, "Do you still hear him?" Because when the voice of an artist like Jimin, who rarely speaks in bitter tones, is finally heard, the world should not turn a deaf ear. Right now, what fans are feeling is not just disappointment, but loss of direction. They wonder how it is possible that the figure who has given so much to the stage, to the music, to the meaning of BTS's existence itself, now, instead, you have to wait behind the starting line while others are already driving. Jimin is not demanding anything special. He just wants to be fair, and that fairness still seems to be a luxury in an industrial system increasingly driven by strategy and numbers. But the numbers can't fully quantify the effect. No chart is able to show how one song Jimin can touch the soul of fans who have never even met him. And no worksheet can explain how a tiny young man with such a big heart was able to bring hope into lonely homes around the world. When he says, "I want to go back on stage," it's not just a longing for cheers. It was a plea to return to his whole being. There he lived, and there he was accepted unconditionally. But the stage remained dark. Not because he doesn't deserve it, but because someone hasn't turned on the lights. Si-hyuk once talked about the importance of making room for each BTS member to show their unique side. But time passes, and unrealized words become empty promises. Now fans are waiting for more than just new music. They are waiting for courage from the agency to keep its promise, to put sensitivity as a strength, not a weakness, because not all artists can make the world silent with just one soft sentence. Jimin can do it, and the world has heard it. Now it's HYBE's turn. Will they remain silent? Or finally answer a call that has been ignored for too long?